Hi, everybody. I'm Amy.
And I'm Audrea.
This is the right crowd. So grab a cup of coffee.
Or a cup of tea.
Or maybe a little something on the rocks. And let's get started. Okay, Audrey, we are both super excited about this one. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about, this is backwards for me, but 20 books to 50K, the conference, the movement, the things.
And why are we talking about 20 books?
We are talking about it. Well, I'm glad you asked, Amy. We're talking about it because we just got back. We just flew back from Vegas, and boy, I'm not even going to finish that. You guys can finish that corny joke.
Well, you flew back. I drove.
Oh, that's right. You drove back. Yeah, I flew.
32 hours.
Yikes. You are a better man than I, Gunga Din. Yeah, I'm glad you got there and back safely.
For me, it was fabulous because it was 3 days of listening to what I wanted to listen to and eating what I wanted to eat and only stopping when I wanted to. So it was great.
That is the cool thing about road trips, and especially about single, road trips, is that you get to stop where you want to stop, eat what you want to eat. Nobody's there to judge you.
Nope. And when I got to the room, I went to sleep and I got up when I wanted to get up. Like, it was great. Now, I will say I missed my husband. Let's just say that I missed having someone with me. However, the convenience of not having to go through, well, I don't know, where do you want to go? Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, I don't know. And what TV show do you want to watch? Well, no, I wanted to go to bed, but I'm not tired. Like, it's all you didn't have to do that when you're by yourself on a road trip. So that was nice. Okay, so let's give a little history, not a history, but just kind of a little 20 books. Yeah, a little background.
Okay.
Do you know how long it's been around?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it was 2017 when he started it.
See, my first thought was 17 and then I thought 14.
Okay.
So
now that's going to drive me
nuts.
Not
sure. I don't know that it really matters.
Okay.
Except that every year it continues to grow. And it's for authors, by authors, and their focus is on indie. However, traditionally published authors and publishers and all kinds of people were there.
Yes.
But the main focus is on helping indie authors become a success and what they need to do along the way. And they were everything from noob, haven't published anything, which is us, to people who make 2 million plus a year, 3 million plus a year. So, I mean, it was everything, and there was something for everyone. Craig Martell and Michael Anderle started it back in whatever year it was that we can't remember. And it's been growing ever since. For anyone who wants to participate next year and go, number one, you have to be part of the Facebook group. So you need to go to the 20 Books to 50K Facebook group and join the group. And it is next year, November 14th through the 18th. It's $299. I believe registration will open in January of this year.
Yes.
Capping it at 2,500 in-person attendees. And it's going to be at Bally's again in Las Vegas. So, and I think the space was really good because the hotel elevators were like right next to the conference center. So we didn't have to trudge all the way through the whole casino to get to where we needed to go.
Yes.
So if we had, there was one time I wanted something for the first session I was attending, but I didn't want to carry it for the rest of the time. We had a 15-minute break between sessions. So I put my bag down because some of the sessions filled up really quickly.
Yes. Put
my bag down, run my thing up to my room, and come back downstairs. And I was perfectly fine on time. So that's one of the good things about it. There's also plenty of meetups and dinners for people to attend to. And by meetups, I mean mystery authors, fantasy authors. There was one for writers on the road. There was one I actually hosted one for people who are crafty. And it was just people. We had, I brought my yarn. couple of people brought stickers they made and like just showed, and it was just for us, it was just a time to just chitty chat. For other ones, like the fantasy dinner, they actually did a dinner. I believe the ticket was $100 only because of what they did for the dinner. And they like had a buffet, they rented out a suite, they played games, like, so yeah. Everyone's going to be different. What did you guys do for the cozy?
For the cozy mystery meetup, we was just we just had a room in the conference center and we just met up and chatted. So I got to meet a few of them, and it was neat because early on at the conference, you can here's a list of spreadsheets of all of the, like, so many meetups. This is just meetups. This is not sessions.
That's the meetups, guys. That's not even the classes.
Just meetups. And they start the first night of the conference and just go throughout the conference. And then some spring up during the conference that weren't on the sheet before that you could plan for. So you just have to keep aware. And that's where that Facebook group comes in handy. Like if you want to start a meetup during the conference. But for the cozy mystery authors, we just met in a room and chatted. And so those people that I met, like it was the second night of the conference, I met in between sessions and talked to at sessions and was able to ask questions and chat with, and then during the signing, talk to them during the so throughout the conference. That was neat. And then unfortunately I missed the first meetup of the Clubhouse authors, unfortunately, because my plane was delayed quite a bit, and when I got to the hotel I fell face down in the bed. After I think I met you that first night, and then I went to my hotel, it was like, or room, and I was like, I'll get ready, I'll go to the author thing if it's happening, or the Clubhouse author meetup. And then I was just gonna lay my head down for a minute. Then by the time I did get to meet up with the Clubhouse authors, another meetup later on in the conference. So I had met people who I'd only spoken to. And that's the great thing about a conference, is these are people that I only met online or in another app for writers. And like you, I've only talked to you virtually. So this was the first time we met in person. So that's another great part of conferences, period. But this one specifically, there's that, like you said, the caliber of authors, and everyone was so open and friendly and willing to share and chat. So it was a really great experience just for meeting people. But for those of you who are introverts, which a lot of authors are, it's at your own pace. It's at your own pace. So you don't have to feel like you have to, and then you can disengage whenever you want to. So that's the great thing about this conference in particular. And this is not a good example, but you could put your name on the badge. But if you wrote your name in black, that meant you were okay with being friendly and meeting people or shaking hands or, touchy-feely stuff. But if you wrote your name in red, then that meant I really just which was cool. So I saw people there with, they had their whole thing written in red, and many of them had their name and also said, hug me. Like, whoa, too much. But so that was a cool part of this conference, is that it was, your mileage may vary and your experience can vary depending upon what you want to bring to it and take from it.
Yeah, there was one guy I saw, I helped with registration. Oh, yeah. And one guy, he came up and he was like, so look what I did. And on one side he had it in red, and on one side he had it in black. And he was like, that way if I see somebody I don't want to talk to, I can just turn it to the red side.
That's
like, okay.
That's pretty smart.
And the steamy romance group, they went to the Magic Mike show, and Channing Tatum was there.
I'm so bummed. I'm like, maybe I need to switch genres if they get to encounters with Channing Tatum at the Magic Mike show. I maybe need to look into how to write steamy.
So I thought that was but yeah, there was all kinds of meetups and dinners. And I think for me, I had originally signed up for 5. By the time the conference came around, I was down to 3. And I attended 1. And it was the one that I put together.
Okay.
And I think it's because when I'm just a participant, I have not a lot of confidence, and I always feel like I'm going to say something stupid. And so I talk myself out of attending things because I'm going to say something stupid, and I'm just going to not go. So I think that's one thing when we go next year, is I need to make myself attend these things. And because most people will say the biggest reason they go to them is for the author interaction.
Yeah.
And I had that at the registration table. And I mingled amongst people when they were like just sitting out between classes, but I didn't attend any meetups because I didn't want to, say something stupid or whatever. So I just didn't go. Mm. However, you had a great time meeting people.
I did. Well, actually, in our episode, we talked about setting an intention for a conference. And so my intention for this conference was to actually meet and talk to people and make connections in my genre, make connections with other authors and so forth. So I set that intention. And so I tried to be really conscious and make a conscious effort to speak to people. It was really hard for me. Because I am a super introvert. I'm like an advanced introvert most of the time. So, but I did. I went out and I met, like I said, the Clubhouse authors and other people. Oh, and I met a few people. We're going to talk about some of the authors that we met in my genre. So that was a great part. So as we said on that episode, set your intentions for the conference, what you want to get out of it. One of my intentions was to meet people in my genre and meet other authors and to actually speak to other humans in person. So that's why I was out a little bit more than I normally am. And I found it to be a great benefit. And some of the cozy authors that I spoke to, I mean, we just had a blast just talking about books and tropes and things like that. But 20 books to 50K, it's not just about the conference that they do once a year, or it used to be twice a year, because I know they do one in Madrid.
So they've got one coming up in Spain.
Okay, that's the Madrid.
They have like 2 or 3 more that they're doing between now and the next one in Las Vegas. They've got them all over the world. Yeah, they're not just in Vegas.
Yeah, so which is cool. So if you are in international and you're in Scotland or near there, you can go to a 20 books to 50K conference. But it's also a movement. So he started this with Craig Martell with the idea that he could retire himself. He tells a great story. So if you ever get a chance to or search for him on a podcast, and he tells the story of how he had put out 2 books and he was in Cabo San Lucas, and he wanted to figure out how he could not have to go back to his day job and stay in Cabo San Lucas, and how he could live, you could live at, I think I've heard him on a few of them. You can live for 50K pretty well down in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico at the time when he was starting this. And so he said, this is what I'm making on 2 books. He had 2 books. So if I, extrapolate that or do the math, have a whole spreadsheet and figure out how this is, if I had 20 books, theoretically, then I could make 50K on this 20 books. And then I could retire from my day job and live down here with my wife in Cabo San Lucas or wherever. So that was his idea. And so he put together a way to do it, and he did it. Basically, he personally did it. So he and what's great about the community, which is on Facebook, and you can meet up with in person or just meet with virtually, is the business side. You learn lots of great tips on marketing, because everybody is trying to get there. That is the goal of being a full-time author, or improving your craft to the point where that your books are unputdownable. That was one of the sessions that I went to during this conference. So it's a writing community, it's a conference, it's a movement, it's a business acumen or a business model. So all those things make up 20 books to 50K. So what was speaking of the sessions, and this is, that's a worksheet from one of the sessions.
That's a worksheet from John Truby.
But yeah. So there were and I did this because I nerded out. So I printed out the spreadsheet, and if you can see, I circled some, and I said, this one is first, second, because they're all concurrent. So they were happening at the same time. What's really great about this conference, and if you missed it this year, if you're part of the
That's okay.
Facebook group. That's right, because they recorded it. So you can find these sessions on YouTube, which is such a service to the writing community, that Craig Martell's group, where the
AV team really knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
So it's all on past sessions, like past years. Just find their YouTube channel, subscribe, like you're going to do with this channel. All of the, and some of the audio's not, great, but it's free. So, I mean, you didn't pay for it.
Yep.
So, and they do what they can with what they have. And some of the rooms, the speakers didn't have microphones, so they recorded what they were able to.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your biggest takeaway, would you say?
My biggest takeaway was at one of the sessions they had, it was the Successful Indie Authors panel. And like you said, on that panel, they had people who were making the 6 figures, the 7 figures with their writing, and they are all independent authors. Some of them were some of the hybrid authors, but most of them were independent and doing it on their own.
What's a hybrid?
A hybrid is you publish yourself independently, so you're an independent author, and you may have some books traditionally published by one of the major publishing houses. But for the most part, it was, I would say, weighted way heavier on the independent author side, because you get to take home more of the money when you're independent.
Yeah. And there was also someone on the panel who started out traditionally published, realized how much money they were leaving on the table, and moved, and now they're a 7-figure author every year.
Yeah. So in that one session, they were talking about imposter syndrome, feeling like you don't deserve success, or feeling like you don't have the skills to make it, or you should not be at the table or in the room with other authors. And they asked, so who here in this room feels imposter syndrome? And it was one of the packed rooms, because it was all of the bigger authors, Martell, Lana Johnson, and some other authors on the stage. And just about, I mean, everybody raised their hand, like, yeah, me too. And people,
and we were sitting in the back.
Yes.
We were sitting in the back, and we could see the whole, like, and it wasn't anybody was like this. It was like, I mean, everybody's hand just shot up.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. So that was, and people on the stage. So the people who were doing the talk were, and they're, one of the authors, I can't remember her name. I think it was Alana Perkins, or no, I can't remember her name.
Hang on. The cute little tiny one with the straight hair. Okay.
Yeah, the British one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Shoot. Where's my it's not, we'll figure it out. But
she said, and they asked also after that. So after they asked who suffers from imposter syndrome, the next question they asked was, so how did you know, or when did you know you'd made it? And so funny, because she was on the stage, and she's like, right now I'm on the stage. When I got the invite to be on the stage, it's like, I guess I'm a successful author now. I don't know. So that was pretty cool. And so learning that all of those authors have had, or still have, the urge to quit, because it's not easy. Everybody gets that urge to quit, or that they're not good enough. And the ones who are successful authors, the ones who are 6-figure and 7-figure authors, are the ones who work through it, who don't quit. Or they might quit. I quit on Tuesday, but Wednesday morning I got up and I went back to the page. So that was one of my biggest takeaways, is to see that, just to see the caliber of author there, and those who are trying to make it, and those who have made it, and to hear that journey, and to see that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
Doing these things.
I think that was when I realized that I actually had imposter syndrome. And that's probably why I didn't attend any of the meetups, because I didn't really feel like I knew enough to be there. So her name was either Caroline or Dakota.
It was Caroline.
Okay. So Caroline Peckinen?
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah. But that was really cool, because she even said that when someone else had to tell her she was on the panel, and she called Craig, and she was like, I think you made a mistake. I don't think I'm supposed to be on this panel. But you know what's interesting about her is, on the last day, they do an author signing day. Mm-hmm. There were, I don't even know how many authors set up with tables and books to buy and sign and all this stuff. Her table, she had a line of outside people who came in to buy her books, to get their picture taken with her, to get signatures. She's the only one I saw with a line.
Wow.
And it wasn't like 2 or 3 people. It was a line.
That's
like
cool. That's really
cool. It was very cool to see, because the day before she was saying how she didn't think she should have been on the panel, but yet she was the only one with a line of people coming in, not from the conference.
Oh yeah.
These were people coming in to meet her. Like, there were kids with their parents. Like, there were people coming in to meet her.
That is so cool.
So yeah, it was super cool. Okay, so I think the other thing we wanted to do is I got something, a takeaway from where I literally had pages of notes.
Yes.
So, but when I think about what I got from the sessions, I would have to say the 2 that stick out are the 2 that I attended because they weren't supposed to be recorded. They were going to be Zoom calls because the author wasn't here, and they didn't think they were going to be recorded. Now it's possible that they were recorded, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Mayberry did 2 classes. And in both of those classes, he pointed out that, because a lot of people say, pick a genre, right? Or stick to what you know. First of all, how can you write about a serial killer if you're not a serial killer? Like, I don't understand how, or like, there was someone that writes reverse harem. Look it up if you don't know what it is, because I'm not explaining it to you. So is she part of a reverse harem? Like, how do you write about, like, for people who say write about what you know? I've never done these things. I don't know anything about fairies and trolls and, so whatever. Well, he was saying he has books and short stories in just about every genre, because his thought is you don't know until you try as to whether or not you can or like it. So he was like, so pick something, anything that you've never done, and see what you think, and just give it a shot. And when he said that, the first thing that popped in my head was sweet romance. I've never written a romance. I don't read romance, but a sweet romance, I think I could do, because it's a sweet romance to me is like a cozy mystery. Mm-hmm. It has all the pieces without all the details. So you have love and you have all of the things that happen in a romance. Mm-hmm. It's like Gone with the Wind. He carried her up the stairs, and a sweet romance stops there.
Yes.
Leave it, everything else to your imagination, right? So I could totally like, so now I actually, this kind of leads into what we were going to talk about. I actually bought A Sweet Romance by Elena Johnson, because I'm like, okay, what makes a good sweet romance? Let me read one of her books, because she's highly successful at doing what she does. Mm-hmm. And let me see if this is something that I can put out. Now, whether or not it's something anybody would want to read, I'm not really concerned about that. I just want to see if it's something that I can do. So for me, it was about, it's okay that I have 6 different works in progress and not one of them is in the same genre.
Oh yeah.
Like he made it okay. And if this goes well, maybe I'll have 7. And I'm okay with that. So anyway.
That's cool.
All right. So you want to show us some stuff you got?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So for those of you who are high input, this is your jam. So I'm going to turn around here. So in addition to, so on my lanyard, a lot of the authors who came brought swag. So you see, I've got swag from different groups or different authors or different meetups and things like that. So buttons on the swag. Also, one of the authors, and we should say a thank you to her, made these really cool beads that you could add to your lanyard. Yes. Lanyard bling. I love it. So that's one of the things I got. And then, pardon my turn here. Some of the things are just for author craft, so author to author, and then there's some other things. Were the notepads, love it. And you picked up one of these for me, and I love this. And there's an extra one that you can see back here, just the cover. She was giving out that. So, and then I love this word count tracker, and we need to thank the No Magic Unicorn Press gave this out. So you can track your word count. I love this thing, and I love the size, and I love the input. I love the physicality of these.
Yep.
So those were some of the things. And then talk about so your swag, your author to reader. So these are some examples of, this was in the author signing day. I've got a whoopee, or not a whoopee cushion, basically a little bitty one. It's like Duke the Deaf Dog. It's an ASL, or American Sign Language series. How cool is that? And I am definitely, that's from Kelly Brockenhoff. And then the swag for people who read their books, like pins and bookmarks and cards. And wait, there's more. I won't show each and every one of these pieces, but high input, we got you taken care of. And magnets, there's a couple of magnets back there. This one is a great one. This one is from another cozy mystery author that I actually had. She was on my TBR, to be read list in Amazon, and I wanted this book, and she was actually there. And so I got this book. It's Stella Bixby. And this is a magnet she does, and it's your Ellie's Daily Stretches. So it's written from the perspective of her character. And speaking of, I got another, she writes 2 cozy mystery series. So this is the same author. So I got her book and signed, and actually got on audio, she had a giveaway at the conference. And then more books. Lots of this is that Stella Bixby book, but lots of, I was looking for cozy mystery examples, or I was there as an author, but on the author signing day, I was there as an author, scoping the scene, and I was also there as a reader. So this is one of the other cozy mysteries that I got, the Scarlet Letter opener. I'm excited to read this one. How cool is that cover? Just gorgeous. And then speaking of cool covers, I also read on occasion in the Fantasyland. And I love Alice in Wonderland, and I also love Nordic Celtic gods. So this one is, look at the cover on that one. And these are from Kendra Moreno. And this one, so this one is Mad Hatter, or Mad as a Hatter. And then this one is in the Celtic gods, or, Thor, Loki world. So got some books and also got some swag. What about you? Cool. What did you pick up?
So I picked up some of the same things you did, but I also wanted to show, we got these cool little notebooks.
Yeah.
So because of the Panda Bear, we did not have 20 books last year, but he had already purchased all the swag. So if you came this year, you got this swag. If you were, if you donated funds for people for scholarships, which I was a scholarship receiver, I didn't have to pay for conference. Someone paid for me to go. I don't know who mine was from, but someone paid my fee to go this year. If you were a donator, you got this one, and you're like, but Amy, you didn't donate. Well, on the last day, all the extras were put out. So I got a 2021, and okay, if this doesn't take you back to 1988, I don't know what does. It's one of those pens where you change the colors. So that was the other part of the swag that you picked up when you registered. There was also an author there named Audrey Huey.
Oh yeah.
And she did a couple of classes about organization and planning and that kind of thing. So if you, and y'all, we've talked about this. I'm all about organizing and planning and having a plan and putting it on paper and all of that. So if you want to like more in depth on that, watch her series, her classes on 20 books. But she has something that she's made up, and it's a monthly writing planner. And if you were the first person every day to go up to her and ask her for one, she gave you one for free. I was the person that day.
Yay.
And I actually went up to her just to thank her for her class. And then I was like, wait, are you the one? And she's like, I am. Which one do you want? Because no one had asked her yet. So she has these monthly ones on her website, but she also has a whole yearly, like, and it takes you through character development and plotting and outlining and all of that stuff. So check out her stuff. I don't have it in front of me because it literally, as you were pulling up the Mad Hatter one, I was like, oh, the books I bought for Randy. So I didn't know what to buy Randy. Randy is my husband, guys. I don't know if we've actually mentioned his name, but I didn't know what to get for Randy. So I pulled up his Audible and I was like, okay, who on his Audible is here? And I found one of the authors. So I had him sign the book for him that was on his Audible. And then I asked the author, I said, hey, which one of these other first in series match close to this one? So I ended up getting 2 books for him, which he was super excited about. I picked up this one for my niece.
Oh,
it's a middle grade fantasy.
ooh.
I was like, why would I have 13 nieces and nephews, guys. I only bought one for one, and it wasn't because she's the favorite. It's just because there was a book I thought that she would like, and I don't know about everybody else. So this is the one I got. But this tells you, like, if you just look at Randy's books are sci-fi. This is a middle grade fantasy. You showed cozy and Nordic, like everybody's there, right? I am in the process. One of my whips is a middle grade fantasy, but it kind of fits this one, what this book does. So I picked this one up as a book for me to read as homework, kind of to see how he did it. Right now, this one. So this guy, his name is Marcus. He has big red glasses.
Well, I remember him.
Super nice guy. This is not the genre he writes in.
Ooh.
And every time I walk past his table, this cover and the tagline at the top kept getting my attention. And the tagline says, 3 enter the woods, only 2 can leave. And I'm like, ooh. So I finally stopped at his table, and he said that this was not in his genre, but it's the book he's most proud of.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So I bought it, and I promised him I would let him know what I thought about it. I already showed you the Elena Johnson. So the books that I bought were more for, well, with the exception of this one. This one's a thriller. I've never written a thriller. Who knows? Let's make whip number 8. I don't know. So, but all the books I bought were for homework type, like, what did they do? How did they make it work? That kind of thing. Now, something I purchased after the fact. Oh, Elena Johnson also has, I forgot to say this, Facebook group and a page it's called Indie Inspirations. And it's all about helping indie authors. And she has a whole series. There's 4 books in the series. She has a whole series on helping indie authors. And I would show it to you, except it's on my Kindle, because she does a lot of her stuff on Kindle and not actual physical books. So her indie stuff, there wasn't an option to buy it in a paperback version. So I got the Kindle version. But someone on the 20 Books page commented and showed a picture of a workbook that they had purchased, and that it was from a 20 Books person. And someone else commented, yeah, she's got a series of 3. And I was like, wait a minute, what? So I looked, and of course I had to buy. So
see this.
Audrea hasn't seen these yet. So these are special. So so they're called the only, one is world building, one is fantasy, and one is character. And it's workbooks on how to do the things.
Oh, wow.
So like this one, and they're big. They're like 8.5 by 11. They're probably, yeah. And the covers are that nice soft butter color, you know, the feeling.
Yeah.
But the inside are literally, hang on, let me find one of the pages. So like, here's all the questions.
Oh, neat.
And then she gives you pages to work it out.
Wow.
And then she gets to the next section, right? So one is for world building, one is for fantasy, writing fantasy, and one is a character workbook. So I am super excited. We've talked about the fact that I'm more of a pantser, but I'm realizing that a couple of my books, I want them to be series, and I can't really pants that. I need to, I mean, there might be someone who's going to disagree with me, and that's fine. You can have your opinion and I can have mine. I want it plotted out so that, because for me, and the one that I'm working on right now, I've written book 1 and I know how it's going to end in book 3. But there has to be certain steps that have to be taken in book 2 and in book 3 to get book 3 to the end where I want it. So I've got to start plotting and outlining and all that good stuff, which is why I'm like overload right now on Sarah Cannon, because she does all the things like that.
So anyway. Yep, Sarah Cannon does a great job with that. That's awesome. And so we talked about our favorite sessions. One for you, or we talked about yours. One of mine was Truby's Secrets of Genre. And for those who are on our mailing list, you know, or who've been watching the show for a while, you know that we're going to be doing Truby's book in this year as well. But one of the other authors, so Truby was there and we took a picture with him. So you guys probably already saw that on our Instagram. But one of the other authors that was there that, speaking of the whole imposter syndrome, she does something that's QTP. Let's all QTP, question the premise. So that is Becca Syme, and she does strengths for writers. So when I said, if you're high input is one of the Clifton strengths, and she does the strengths for writers. And I've taken a couple of her courses, and I even bought one of her books. This is one of her books that she does nonfiction. She author sessions on how to be a better author based on your strengths and so forth. But she's also a cozy mystery writer. And I've got this one, which I shouldn't have held this up because now I'm hungry for donuts. But so if you suffer from imposter syndrome and you often feel like you want to quit, Becca Syme's resources are great. She has YouTube channel and classes and stuff. And we'll link to those in the show notes. So to wrap it up, if you are thinking about 20 books to 50K, it's a great community. It's a great conference to go to. You can, if you don't want to go in person or can't go in person, they have the sessions online, on the limes and on the lemons and the coconuts. But more importantly, or more usefully, on YouTube, you can listen to those sessions. And you can, my intentions for this conference were, I said, about meeting people, networking in the author sphere, and also to learn more about building craft or improving my craft. The sessions there, we got some great ones, took great notes like Amy did on that. And also how, when I look at conferences, how will this conference or this blank improve my business or improve my craft? And you get to check a lot of the boxes with 20 books to 50K. Yep. All right. So anything else from you, Amy, on 20 books to 50K?
No, I think I've run out of words for that one. I think that's it for us. Are you done, Audrea?
I'm done.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.